Imagine something so resistant that no other natural substance can scratch it. Now imagine that this material was born in an environment so extreme that no human being could ever survive. That's how the story of the diamond begins, a brutal, ancient journey, completely invisible to our eyes. And that's precisely what makes this process so fascinating. Billions of years ago, long before any form of complex life existed, Earth concealed a silent transformation more than 150 kilometers deep. At that level, the pressure was so immense and the temperature so intense, reaching almost 100 degrees, that pure carbon began to reorganize itself. What were once scattered atoms began to align in an extremely compact way, creating the strongest crystalline structure that exists in nature. However, even after this impressive transformation, the diamond remained trapped deep within the Earth's mantle, and it wouldn't escape without a violent event. It took ancient volcanic eruptions, much faster and more explosive than those we know today, to rupture the Earth's crust with colossal force. These episodes opened vertical tunnels, veritable geological chimneys. Inside, fragments of igneous rock called kimberlite rose like projectiles, carrying the newly formed diamonds. These eruptions were so rapid that the diamond didn't have time to melt, even as it traversed warmer regions of the planet. If this process had occurred slowly, the diamonds simply wouldn't exist. What guarantees their survival is, ironically, the violence of the eruption itself. Time passed. Millions and millions of years accumulated. The kimberlite pipes solidified, buried themselves under other sediments, hidden by nature. And today, finding one of these ancient diamond pipes is like trying to locate a microscopic needle in an endless desert. This is where the investigative side of the process comes in. Geologists from all over the world work like true detectives. They analyze the soil, study magnetic signatures, and investigate microscopic mineral samples that may indicate the presence of kimberlite. Nothing is guaranteed. Even finding a promising clue, it could mean everything or absolutely nothing. But when the clues align and a possible chimney is identified, the most rigorous stage begins: exploratory drilling. It is at this stage that rock is extracted directly from the subsoil and sent for detailed analysis. The experts want to know only one thing: is there enough diamond there to transform that discovery into a mine? If the answer is yes, the real industrial adventure is about to begin. And that's where the process gets even more impressive, because extracting diamonds is anything but glamorous. It's a gigantic, expensive, and extremely complex operation. Every step is precise. Every mistake costs millions. When the decision to mine is made, one of the most intense and impressive stages of the entire industry begins: the removal of the rock that hides the diamonds. Nothing here is small. Nothing is simple. Every movement involves colossal machines, tons of explosives and engineering with almost surgical precision. There are two possible paths, and the choice depends on the depth of the kimberlite pipe. If the rock is relatively close to the surface, open pit mining begins. Imagine a huge amphitheater excavated in the ground, so large that it can even be seen in satellite images. Excavators the size of buildings, trucks that look like motorized houses, and monstrous tractors work tirelessly. Layer by layer, the soil is removed, opening a spiral shaft that gets deeper and deeper. This method may seem simple, but it's a gigantic operation. Every inch of rock needs to be carefully studied. A mistake can cause collapses or delays of weeks. And as the hole descends hundreds of meters, there comes a point where continuing to dig vertically becomes too expensive. That's when the whole process changes. When the depth becomes absurd, underground mining begins. Here, the operation ceases to be horizontal and transforms into a three-dimensional labyrinth. Tunnels are excavated from the surface, advancing towards the kimberlite pipe. From them, new galleries are opened like metallic arms penetrating the rock. Each gallery is meticulously planned to prevent the ground from collapsing. After all, we are talking about operations that reach hundreds of meters below our feet. With strategically placed explosives, portions of the rock are fragmented into smaller blocks. The explosion cannot be too strong so as not to damage the diamonds, but it also cannot be too weak or the rock will not shatter. It's an exact science. Afterwards, the broken material is loaded onto special trucks or transported by enormous conveyor belts to elevators that take it to the surface. And here's an interesting point. Less than 1% of everything that is removed actually contains diamonds. In other words, 99% of this gigantic effort serves only to reach that precious 1%. This explains why diamonds have always been so rare and so valuable. Upon reaching the surface, the kimberlite ore finally enters the beneficiation phase, a precise, technical process that depends as much on the power of the machines as on the subtlety of the chemistry. Right from the first stage, the extracted rock needs to be broken up. Immense crushers transform giant blocks into smaller pieces, but we are still far from seeing a sparkling diamond. What exists there is merely a chaotic mixture of mineral fragments, earth, dust, and microstones. And now comes one of the most intelligent steps in the entire process: density separation. Diamonds, despite being rare, have an advantage. They are heavier than most of the minerals present in kimberlite. This allows specialized machines to use dense liquids to separate what sinks, the diamonds, from what floats, everything else. And the most surprising thing, even after this sophisticated industrial process, the diamonds still need to undergo cutting-edge technology, such as X-ray sensors capable of detecting the natural fluorescence they emit when exposed to these waves. In fractions of a second, jets of compressed air eject them into exclusive containers. Up to this point, a rough diamond has already passed through giant machines, dangerous tunnels, and thousands of tons of rock. But its journey is far from over. Now it must face the most delicate process of all: human refinement. After facing giant machines, deep tunnels, and advanced technologies, the rough diamond finally reaches the most sensitive stage of its entire journey. Now, what truly defines its value is the combination of technical knowledge and human skill. This is where every detail matters. The process begins with the classification of the rough diamond. Experts analyze size, shape, color, and clarity. Most of the diamonds found in the world do not become jewelry. They are destined for industry, used in cutting and drilling tools. Only a small portion goes to cutting centers around the world, such as Antwerp, Tel Aviv, and Mumbai, where the final transformation begins. The first step is marking. The gem cutter studies the stone with extreme care, looking for the best angle and the best way to cut without wasting material. A small decision can completely influence the brilliance and final value of the stone. Next comes the initial cut, which can be done by cleaving, following the natural lines of the crystal, or by sawing, using blades coated with diamond powder or ultra-thin lasers. It is this cut that defines the basic shape of the stone and paves the way for the true spectacle. The next step is the cutting and polishing. Here, the artisan uses an iron disc coated with diamond powder to shape and create the facets that will give life to the stone's characteristic brilliance. Each facet is positioned with millimeter precision. The light that enters the diamond needs to be reflected intensely, clearly, and vibrantly. And this only happens when the cutting and polishing are perfect. After cutting, the stone undergoes meticulous polishing. It is at this stage that the diamond acquires its final appearance, free of scratches and ready to reflect light with maximum intensity. Finally, it goes to specialized laboratories, where professionals evaluate its overall quality and create the certificate that will accompany the stone throughout its commercial life. When all this is over, the diamond is ready to be shaped into jewels that will end up in display cases, vaults, and collections around the world. And to think it all began billions of years ago, hidden deep within the earth, waiting for a violent eruption to reach us. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible journey, from the brutality of the depths to the final brilliance, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which other process you'd like to see fully explained. This greatly helps the channel grow and bring you more videos like this.